Shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hit me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Guys, as always, smash a like, share, and subscribe. Please, please, please. We are back with another match preview, and Liverpool are up against Fulham. So obviously Liverpool coming off the back of their victory against Everton in the Merseyside derby in the week. Yeah, I think, you know, like I said before, you know, it was as I said in my match reaction, it was a bit of a meaty game, really and truly. I don't think the performance was all that, to be honest with you, from Liverpool. But listen, who cares? The reality is, of course, we're just trying to get the 3 points, and then we get closer and closer towards the title. Now, obviously, Fulham represent a different kind of proposition. I think they got similarities, I feel like, to Everton in terms of the ways that they can obviously hurt us. But obviously, Fulham, I think, have a bit more going forward, you know, for them in terms of the individual players that they do have in the team. This is obviously the form of Fulham. So obviously not really been in great form. You can see their 3 defeats in their last 5 games. Liverpool with 2. They lost obviously 2-1 to Arsenal. I did actually watch a little bit of that game, and I thought they were pretty decent. I can't lie. I did actually think, I felt like it was just in moments, decision making, players like Adama Traore just making the wrong decision at the wrong time, and then of course it is what it is. You come up against Arsenal, but Bukayo Saka obviously coming back, and then you know you kind of move from there. So yeah, I thought they were, I wouldn't say unlucky. Maybe in totality, they did deserve to probably lose the game, but they had their moments. They had their moments. And as I said, with Liverpool, it was one of those. I felt like a draw would have been more fair, to be honest with you. But at the same time, Liverpool, of course, getting the job done. Fulham, obviously, currently sitting in 9th place as well. So, yo, do you know what I mean? Like, I know they're definitely looking up in that table and thinking, yo, if we can potentially catch one of the guys as well above us, you know, we can get into them European places. And for a team like Fulham, that would just be, you know, wonders, you know, for them as a club. Obviously, one of the things that I wanted to talk about anyway in this preview. Now, obviously, I'm doing this free preview on the 3rd of April. So obviously, it's just, you know, literally straight after the Everton game. So I haven't heard, obviously, in the future, I won't have heard, you know, the press conference, and I don't know in terms of lineups and things like that. So I'm just more going off of the last games for both clubs and everything like that. But one of the things obviously was Curtis Jones obviously playing at right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously injured, Bradley obviously still coming back from his injury. I don't know why he didn't play Kwanzaa, but listen, he went with Curtis, and I thought Curtis had a decent, you know, game, you know, there at right back in terms of like the positions and things like that he was picking up. Something I mentioned, you know, in the match reaction. You can see here, look, this is where he was, you know, majority of the game, you know, further up, right next to Mo Salah, you know, operating in those kind of spaces. And I felt even with the ball, his distribution was pretty good, you know, as well. And I thought, you know what, it kind of represents like a different kind of option, you know, in that kind of position. I don't know if that's like a look to the future. Not necessarily Curtis Jones obviously playing in right back. I don't think that's going to be, you know, his position. But, you know, Slot did speak about, you know, how smart, you know, not Slot, sorry, Curtis Jones spoke about, you know, he's someone who studies the game. You know, it doesn't matter what position he is playing. He's just happy to obviously, one, be on the pitch, but also understand the game from different kind of viewpoints and things like that. And I didn't watch that game and think, oh, man, you know what, the left winger, he's definitely got your number. This is the typical a guy who doesn't play right back or doesn't play in this position. Didn't really feel that at all, man. I felt like you put him there purely because of his on-ball ability in terms of the way that he can progress play, the way that he can keep possession. And I felt like he did that in the game. I thought he was honestly calm, like really, really calm in the game. So yeah, man, big up to Curtis, obviously, for that. In terms of Fulham, obviously, this is kind of how they lined up a little. It was more 3 at the back, but they got it here as a 5-4-1 formation. And obviously, this is what it was against Arsenal. And again, like I said, it was, you got those 3 at the back there. And again, that's going to be very interesting to see if that's how they line up against Liverpool, obviously, on the weekend. Are they going to go with the same kind of formation to try and stifle Liverpool? Again, when Liverpool came up against a mid to low block in, you know, Everton, same things keep rearing their ugly head, which is Liverpool not really good at breaking teams down. That's not really their game, and they don't seem to have the players or the tactics for it. Hence the reason why, you know, some of the performances have kind of been, you know, the way that they have been, if I'm being, totally honest with you. But listen, it is what it is, and you know, Liverpool kind of move forward. But Fulham, I think they're going to represent kind of a different challenge. And one of the players I feel that are going to give us a bit of a challenge is obviously going to be Raul Jimenez. Jimenez reminds me a bit like of what Beto is, and that's why I look at it and think, and even in the reverse fixture, it was kind of similar in terms of the way that he plays. Physical, someone who likes to get about, you know, in terms of, but not bully. Well, he tries to bully defenders. I don't think he'll bully a 𝐾𝐃 and Virgil van Dijk in this type of game. But what he will do is he'll occupy those players, which then allows for players like Adama Traore and, you know, even Robinson over on that left-hand side to be able to just get the space. And we saw, you know, with Robinson, and I think this season he's got about 10 or 11 assists, you know, in the Premier League. When he gets that space, he can run for days. He really, really can. And when he likes to operate in those areas. So if they want to try and congest play just a little bit, it gives him Castagna over there on the right-hand side. It gives them the freedom to be able to play. And obviously Liverpool like to overload the middle of the park to then leave the wings obviously isolated. Will that work in a game like this? I don't know. I didn't really feel like it worked too much in the reverse fixture. Obviously, I think Liverpool went down to 10 men as well in that game. So I feel like maybe that's not something that we want to do. Jimenez is going to give us, you know, a bit of a problem, in my personal opinion. He's someone, obviously, we know he's been in the Premier League for years. He can score goals, but he can be an issue, whether it's in the air or on the floor. So we just need to watch that, in my personal opinion. And again, the same with Anthony Robinson, is just make sure we're just being a bit aware on that left-hand side. I feel like that's where that could potentially hurt Liverpool, you know, in the long run. But look, we'll just have to, of course, wait and see on that. Obviously, Adama Traore is another player I took a look at. He's such a weird player. In terms of his attributes and what he can bring to a team, he's a massive problem. But he just doesn't really seem to be able to deliver. You know, but he's still someone you've got to be wary of. Whether he's playing up front, wide right, wide left, in the middle of the park, you know, in central midfield or attacking midfield, whatever you want to kind of call it, he can cause you problems. This guy can carry the ball for a very, very long time. So you just need to be careful and just need to be aware. If he's getting the ball, that means space is going to start opening up for other players. So again, like I said, Robinson, and you know, and Iwobi if he plays, Smith Rowe if he was to play, you know, etc., etc. But I think they might come out a little bit more than they did against Arsenal. I think against Arsenal, especially playing away, the way that Arsenal play, it's very difficult to break them down anyway. So it does need to almost take a little bit of genius when you do come up against Arsenal in order to break them down, right? With Liverpool, I don't really feel like it requires that, because with the space that we do obviously leave in behind, the gaps that we kind of create, obviously with our midfield as well. Midfield have been quite poor, in my personal opinion, in this 2025. Few odd performances here and there kind of thing, but overall I feel like it's been kind of poor. Thought they were poor, you know, against Everton, you know, in the derby as well. And the midfield gets bypassed a lot anyway. You know, so if it's getting bypassed and it's really just defense versus attack for both sides, that's where, you know, I think that they can potentially, you know, hurt us. And this is obviously the lineup that, you know, I've gone with. So obviously I've gone with obviously Keller. I don't know the situation. Again, like I said, I'm doing this video on the Thursday, so well, obviously it might potentially change, you know, come the game at the weekend. I've gone with the same back line. So I've gone with Curtis Jones back up right back. I felt like he did a good job there, man. Maybe he might go Kwanzaa though, just because of who might potentially play, you know, on the left-hand side, you know, potentially if it's an Iwobi or a Smith Rowe coming in off that left-hand side, is that going to drag Curtis Jones too much out of a position? Again, that might, you know, potentially be a bit of an issue. But if he's confident enough to put him there, then yeah, I'll go with Jones. Maybe Bradley will be fit enough for the game. But I liked Jones in there. Like I said, I liked his ball distribution. I liked what he did, you know, so I'm not really too fussed with him actually going, you know, in that position. The rest of the back four, 𝐾𝐃, Van Dijk, Robertson. Midfield, I've gone for a change. Like I said, we need to change it up, man. It can't keep being the same midfield all the time. Like, it's just boring to watch. They're not playing that well. You can see that whether it's tiredness, whether it's just out of form, doesn't really matter at this point. Let's just try something a little bit different. Again, it's not even like we're in a position like, oh my goodness, every 3 point matters. It's not really like that. At the end of the day, we are 12 points clear anyway. You know, so even if you changed up the midfield, you can always put these players back on in the second half to salvage a game if you needed to. So for me, I've gone with Endo. I think why not put him in there? I think in a game like this where we might need a bit more energy in that midfield area, someone to be able to break up plays to help with players like Adama Traore, you know, players like Anthony Robinson, whoever it might be, just who are always carrying the ball. I feel like that's something that Liverpool are going to need to just watch in this type of game. Watch for the players who are trying to carry the ball over long distances. Because if you haven't really got players in there who can break it up, and I don't think we do with the midfield we currently got, I feel like Endo is someone who can do that. I put Szoboszlai in there in the double pivot, if you want to call him that. I feel like Liverpool play with 4-3-3 anyway, with like a, you can say you got your one at base, sort of, in terms of like Gravenberch, but you've still got the two central midfielders who are kind of, you know, beside either side of him, should I say, sorry. So I've gone with Szoboszlai there for this game. And this isn't the lineup that I know he's going to play. It's just something I wanted to see. And then I've gone Elliot. Why not? You know, we need if he's going to play this kind of formation, why not have that? Why not have, you know, someone like Elliot operating in those kind of half spaces, you know, just off the striker. You know, he can also make those forward runs into the box, you know, potentially swap with a Mo Salah on that right-hand side. He can even swap with Cody Gakpo, who I've got there on the left-hand side, and potentially, you know, play from there. I don't see why that would be too much of a problem. Obviously, it's not the most fluid, but, you know, it might be something we might be able to, you know, potentially see. And I think, you know, I've gone with Luis Diaz up front. Obviously had a really good game against Everton, was probably the best player, you know, on the pitch, you know, in a general sense. And I feel like that front three can, I don't know why. I said this in my preview for the Everton game. It's weird that these three, for some reason, in my opinion, just don't really click like that. But I feel like they should be able to. Diaz and Gakpo should be able to swap with each other. I don't think Jota deserves to start another game. You know, I just don't see the point, you know, in that, to be honest with you. He's not really been playing well. I know he got the goal, and I know it was a really good goal, but outside of that, I thought he had a poor game anyway, and he's not really offering anything, you know, to be honest with you, up front. And then, yeah, you know, Salah obviously on that right-hand side. Salah, who's been in atrocious form recently, you know, probably in the last, like, 6-7 games, to be honest with you, or 5-6 games, whatever it is now. Yeah, so, but we ain't really got no one else who can play that side. I know people are going to say, what about Chiesa? But the reality is the manager don't rate Chiesa in that way anyway. So, yeah, man, it doesn't really matter. And then obviously, you know, this is the league table. As I said, we're 12 points clear. So I do feel like, you know, with 8 games left to go, I think it's, what is it, 4 more victories we need? I think, yeah, another 12 points, which should do the job. For, yeah, 12 points. And then we'd only have 34, 38. So 4 more games. Yeah, I think another 4 more wins. And then, yeah, Liverpool are good to go. Obviously, it would help if Arsenal were to drop some more points. And obviously, I just heard that, you know, Gabriel, he's injured. Apparently, he's out for the season. You know, it's crazy. One out, one in. Bukayo Saka comes back in. You know, he's there. And then now, you know, Gabriel's obviously out injured. And they've got big games coming up against Real Madrid. As I said, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out, you know, for them in a general sense. But yeah, that's kind of how I would go. This is kind of how I would go in terms of for the game. Let me know, of course, what you guys think in terms of lineups and things like that. I will go with I think Liverpool get a draw in this one again. I think we draw against them again. I think it'll be 2-2. I think it'll be 2-2. It's going to be a difficult game, you know, down there, Southwest London. They're going to try and make it difficult for us, and I think they will actually make it difficult for us. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who would you guys play? What is your lineup and formation? And let me know your score predictions in the comment section. And I'll catch you guys soon, man.